Okay, what is up everybody? Isaac Parks here, Isaac Punt, back with another video, talking to you guys today, ranking the Big 12 punters. Guys, this is something that's very important, okay, because there's been a little shake-up. If you looked at ranking the Big 12 punters literally like 2 weeks ago, it would have been completely different than ranking the Big 12 punters today. Let's take a look at why this is the case. First, we can't do that without getting into the video, so let's start off with at number 10, we got Mr. Reis Vernon. Reis, Kansas came in last year, kind of had like a little bit of a struggling season. I expect some big improvements out of Reis, but just kind of going off the numbers alone, kind of struggled in the 5 games he played last year. Going into this year, I expect some big things out of him. The bar is high for Reis to jump over. I think you're gonna get there, Reis. No worries. Don't stress the placement. There's a lot of really solid punters on this list. Next, we got Issac Power. I could have moved Isaac up higher on this list. He shares the same name as me. He shares the first initial with me. We're both Isaac P's, but there's one problem, Mr. Isaac. You have 2 S's. Now, you know what that stands for? Me neither. But guess what? It is awful. That is the worst way to spell the name. I prefer I-Z-A-K over I-S-S-A-C. So you're just going to have to live with that. There can only be one Isaac. Anyway, 40.4 yard average or 40.3 yard average on back-to-back seasons. A lot of potential for him to go up to a 41, 42. But a lot of potential for a lot of these guys. The fact that he stayed the same for 2 seasons, for me, is a little bit of concern, but we'll just kind of have to see how that goes. Next, we got Tyler Sumpter. So aside from the fact that Tyler Sumpter looks like your high school gym teacher, he had a 40.5 yard average, relatively respectable. Going into his very last season with WVU, came in last year with the special teams coach, so he's only played 1 season there. He's going to be playing 1 more due to his COVID eligibility. He, like I said, looks like a PE teacher, just in the face. Maybe he looks like a swinger with that little earring going on. That kind of vibe I'm getting from Tyler. Anyway, that's how I'm feeling about that. Next, we have Joe Rivera. Joe is also an older guy. This is just a plethora of old guys on this list. This is just a very seasoned punting class here. Joe had like a 40.6 yard average playing at Iowa State. Anyway, he had a 40.6 yard average, I believe. Played pretty well. Lots of room to improve on his very last season to cap it off. But it's kind of really hard to tell because these guys have been relatively consistent around the 40 yard marks. And what you don't know about the Big 12 is it's probably one of the windiest conferences ever. That's just straight up facts. It's just a windy area out there. Next, we got Ty Zentner for Kansas. So Ty had like a 40.7 or something like that. So all these guys are like right in that 40 point something range. And then you're going to see at the end we're going to have some really big jumps. But everybody's really in that like 40 range. But he's the youngest, so I think he's got the most room to improve from year to year. A lot of guys have their biggest jump from freshman to sophomore year. So that's why I'm kind of moving him up this way. And then, you know, that's when things kind of start to level out for them a little bit. So I'm predicting some big things for Ty Zentner going into this year. Next, we got Tom Hutton. So here is where I make a little bit of a change because Tom only had like a 40.5, but he has an insane number of fair catches. I think over 50% of his punts were fair caught, which is insane. It shows a lot of discipline. He doesn't outkick his coverage. He hits like a nice, clean, I know he's in Australia. He hits the back spin style punt, which means he hits it end over end. He gets a lot of fair catches. Plays the field position game. That's a very mature punting style. So I put him up here because while his distances may not be further, I think the amount of fair catches and the confidence puts him higher on this list for me as how I value punters than some of these other guys that might hit spirals only the same distance, likely to get a lot less hang time. Next, we got Jordy Sandy. Jordy is pretty much in the exact same boat, except he had a 41 yard average. He hits his balls a little further, gets just as much hang time because he had just as many fair catches. Very disciplined. Jordy, don't kill me. He's going into his last year with TCU. At least I believe it's his last year. So we're kind of expecting big things out of Jordy here. Once again, plays a very, very clean style of football. Hits the end over end punt, I would reckon. Gets a ton of fair catches, or at the very least, he just hits a very high spiral. So this is just gives me a lot of confidence in Jordy here, and I perceive his punting style to be a little bit better than everybody else's beforehand. Next, we got Ryan. What am I even supposed to say? Anyway, after Michael Dixon left Texas. They apparently were looking for a punter to replace him, so they went back to Australia, got another punter, and not only did they get another punter, but Jesus Christ, they got a punter that looks just about as close as possible. Look at that. I mean, they're pretty much the same guy. Okay, that's actually insane. Anyway, so for being a Michael Dickson copycat, Michael Dickson lookalike, Ryan is the third best punter in the Big 12, which means that he's still a couple pegs shy of Michael Dickson. But if he's anything like his predecessor at Texas, then maybe he'll have a big season coming up and put him at number 1. But for number 2, we've got Austin McNamara. Austin had an outstanding season last year, averaging over 46.3 yards per punt. Wow, that's pretty good. He also, talking about the wind and the weather conditions, was able to launch an 87-yard punt pretty much on the fly. I think it went 70 plus yards in the air. Dude has a huge leg. Dude has very explosive abilities on punt, so I should expect another big season out of Austin. And you might be wondering, then whoever could it be? So there's been a little shakeup in the number 1 spot, because while Oklahoma previously had Reeves as their punter, a very consistent guy going into his redshirt senior year, I believe thoroughly from the bottom of my heart that somebody's transfer shook everything up, because everybody else in this division was probably resting easy, knowing their spots were locked in. And I think somebody's coming in to knock everybody down a peg. And that is Michael Turk, the boy wonder, YouTuber, punter extraordinaire, coming in to Oklahoma, transferring from Arizona State. We're not going to get into why he transferred. That's none of my business. It's none of your business, quite frankly. He said personal reasons, which means he didn't want to tell you, which means I don't want to tell you, because that's his stuff, not mine. If he ever wants to come out and say why he didn't transfer, I'll let him come out there and say it, but I'm not going to speculate. Anyway, Michael Turk, with the power of Jesus Christ and his own insanely high bench rep max at his back, Michael Turk pumped out a 47-yard average last year in a limited number of games. He's going to Oklahoma, where they're going to be using Nike Elite footballs, Vapor Elite, which I expect will give him a little bit more flight on all of his punts. Guys, I'm predicting close to a 48, 49-yard average out of the boy wonder. And as he's grown more in his faith and gotten closer to Jesus, he's also gotten closer to quite literally the image of white Jesus, to say the least. So I thought that was exceptional how similar they look in that drawing. Anyway, let me know if you think I'm right. Let me know if you guys think that these are going to be your cream of the crop, creme de la creme punters for the Big 12. If not, leave your answers in the comments. Let me know who you think I should do next. Just kidding, I'm doing the ACC next, knocking out all the Power 5. But as always, let me know if you think I should move people around. Let me know if you think people are in the right spots. And if you watch this and you're one of the lower halves, once again, don't get mad. Just go out there and prove me wrong. If you're in the upper echelons, just prove me right. Please make me look like a genius. If you guys would all just rank yourselves this season in the exact order I put you in to make me look like some sort of punting guru, that would be greatly appreciated. If not, no hard feelings. As always, I hope you have an amazing day. Rarely do I ever do this, but if you want to go ahead and leave this video a like, maybe subscribe, help me out a little bit, that would be awesome. Thank you guys so much.